Today I'm going to be reviewing a movie which was directed by Tim Burton. It stars Johnny Depp. Uh, Stay with me. Music from Danny Elfman, of all people. Uh, Oddly enough, Helena Bonham Carter is not in this one. It's Sleepy Hollow, the 1999 adaptation of the classic Sleepy Hollow legend. Um, and yeah, before I even get started, okay. I know a lot of people seem to think it's trendy and, hip or whatever to shit all over Johnny Depp and Tim Burton and their collaborations, especially the more recent ones, saying they do the same old stupid shit all the time. Well, I'm not going to say that because I don't know what force brought them together, but whenever they do something, when it's great, it's really, really great. But even when it's not great, it's still interesting to watch, and I don't think, a lot of their movies get as much credit as they should, like something like Dark Shadows, their most recent one. I liked that, and I liked Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I didn't see Alice in Wonderland, so maybe that's not good, but whatever. But, when it's great, and this is probably the best collaboration they've done, except for maybe Ed Wood, but this is kind of like a back-ended insult, but Ed Wood is almost like too good to even consider a regular Tim Burton movie, if that makes any sense. I don't know. But anyway, this movie, it stars Johnny Depp, of course, Christina Ricci as the love interest, a who's who of great character actors. You got Michael Gambon, you got Michael Goff, Alfred from the Batman movies, Jeffrey Jones, Principal, and Ferris Bueller. Let's remember his better days, and yeah, plenty more where that came from. Most interestingly, would have to be Christopher Walken in his role. 90% of the movie headless in his performance, but apparently it really is him on that horse, walking around with that axe or that sword or what have you, murdering people. Through the magic of cinema, his head has been removed. Doesn't have a single line in the movie either, but when he does, it's "Rah!" in Christopher Walken's voice, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, this movie, it's pretty much an ideal movie for Halloween, October time, because the legend as it is has, far preceded it in being kind of a tradition when it comes to this month. I mean, it just has pretty much every kind of perfect element to it. It is spooky, but it's not, too alienating in kind of a way. It's like a classic ghost story, which is really cool. The thing about this movie is that, like, what they've done really, really exceptionally well, and you have to give it credit to the costume design and the set design and the cinematography. It's just top notch. It's a really, really visually interesting movie. Like when Tim Burton, puts his special spin on things and his special eye for detail. I mean, it can be really, really great, especially in a movie like this. Probably the only problem with the movie is that, aside from being so visually interesting, it is kind of a little too complicated. It's kind of hard to follow. Like, I mean, in the end, you get it. Like, I won't. This is going to be a spoiler-free review, but when the character who's behind everything reveals everything, they list their reasons in, typical, like, Bond villain fashion. I did this. Here's why. Oh, and here's a flashback to it. And that's why I did that. That's why I did that. Here's how I'm going to benefit from that. Here's what I'm going to do next because of that. See how the plan works? But, there's that. You can almost forgive that. Aside from just, like, generally being overwritten. The movie, it could almost work. Like, you could turn the volume off on this movie and still not miss any enjoyment from it. Which, is saying a lot about the visual style and the presence that an actor like Johnny Depp has in a role like Ichabod Crane. He does a very comedic job, very off-kilter, kind of eccentric, the way we're kind of used to Johnny Depp, but just so that it's not too much, like in some of his other movies that you may notice. It's right on center. It's really, really something amazing. Like if you list your favorite Johnny Depp movies, maybe this will be on the list, maybe it won't, but it's a really tremendous performance from him. he has this bravado to him. It's really nice, and just this whole attitude, this life to him that I really like. And in the Ichabod Crane character and his interpretation of it, I thought he did just an excellent job, and I was really impressed by what he did. Supporting cast is great too. Christina Ricci, I mean, she's a really good actress, but she's not maybe the best. But I thought she made an appropriate love interest to Ichabod Crane in this movie, and probably, I do know that I kind of shit on the writing of the movie, but it is good with their relationship. I really like that, and a lot of things like kind of. Even though it does make certain mistakes in terms of like the broader plot, in establishing the Ichabod Crane character, I think it does a really good job because it does establish why he feels the need to pursue this kind of mystery, like with the flashbacks to his mother and how she was accused and of murdering his father, and how he thought there was no proof to it, and he wanted to kind of live in a world where you could have more proof for something, where something shouldn't be real if you can't grasp it with your hands, So that's kind of what drives his pursuit to the Headless Horseman, which of course he thinks is complete nonsense until he sees it for himself, and that makes him question what his beliefs are and what the lines are between reality and supernatural, and what the movie, to its credit, what it does with the writing, what it comes to resolving the story, is that it is kind of a middle ground between the two, because though there is in the reality of this movie, there is indeed a headless horseman that goes around chopping people's heads off. The drive behind it is very human, and a very human inspiration to do so, like a very very greedy and vengeful motive from kind of a petty person. So that's interesting, and that's kind of what drives any other murder anyway, except this one. You have a series of murders, and you have a fucking headless horseman. So there's that. And the movie's just full of all these little treats to it, like the visual style, and like, this sounds stupid, but when you see like a head get cut off, like certain characters, it's kind of amusing how they kind of present each beheading is a little bit different than the next, which I liked, and maybe it's morbid, but I think the movie does want to provoke thrills, but it also wants to make you kind of sit down, a little nervous laughter, which I think works really well. And Tim Burton, aside from the grandiosity of it all, if that's a word, he does have, a skill in building tension and thrills and comedy too. So this is actually a perfect movie from him. Yeah, it's just full of little things. And the witch scene was really scary. And the movie, one more thing. I mean, the movie is rated R as far as I know. And in Canada, the ratings are different. Let me just check here. No, it's rated 14A in Canada. Well, it's probably R in America. I bet it is, because there are some violent scenes. There is blood. There's definitely blood to see, and it has a lot of balls too. Like in that one scene where this is a spoiler, the headless horseman kills a kid. I mean, you watch any movie, you're like, okay, the kid's gonna make it. Nope, this kid didn't make it. But yeah, really great movie, perfect for the Halloween season. If you haven't watched it, I mean, come on, what's wrong with you? You got Johnny Depp, you got Tim Burton, you got a headless fucking horseman played by Christopher Walken. What else do you want? Watch it. So, yeah, that's my review for today. Thanks for watching, and keep tuned, or whatever. Bye.